What's something you found that completely changed how you saw your parent? I grew up thinking my dad was the kind of man stories were written about. Quiet, strong, the one everyone in the neighborhood trusted. He could fix anything, from a leaky pipe to a broken heart, or at least that's how mom used to describe him when she smiled across the dinner table. I never heard them fight, never saw him angry, and in my childlike mind, that meant our family was perfect. He passed away suddenly, a heart attack on a Tuesday morning, and everything in our home fell eerily silent. I didn't just lose my dad, I lost the unshakable feeling of safety that came with him. Mom withdrew into herself, and I tried to stay busy sorting through his things, clinging to the smell of motor oil and pine aftershave that lingered in his jackets. It was during one of those long, lonely cleanup days that I found it, a plain cardboard box tucked deep in the attic behind a stack of Christmas decorations. It looked old, the corners softened with time, and written across the top in my father's neat handwriting were 3 simple words: do not open. At first I almost respected the instruction, but grief makes you curious. It makes you crave pieces of the person you've lost, and so I opened it. Inside were letters, dozens of them, bundled with string, yellowed at the edges. Some were addressed to my mom, but most had another name on them, Hannah. I didn't recognize it. The first letter began simply, "I'm sorry I missed your birthday. I promise I'll make it up to you next time." It didn't sound romantic, it sounded parental. Another letter began, "I hope school is going well. I'm proud of you even if I can't be there." I must have read 10 of them before I finally went downstairs and asked my mom, "Who's Hannah?" The look on her face told me everything before her words did. She sat down slowly, her hands trembling in her lap. Then she said, barely above a whisper, "Your sister." My world tilted. I didn't even know I had a sister. Before Dad met my mom, he'd been in a long relationship that ended badly. The woman left suddenly, taking their baby with her. He tried to find them, wrote letters, even sent money for years. But one day, the letters came back unopened. Still, he never stopped writing. Every few months, he'd pour his thoughts into another envelope and tuck it away in that box, like he was still trying to be a father to someone he couldn't reach. Mom said she found out years after they married, but he had begged her not to tell me. He didn't want me to carry the weight of his past. He thought keeping it secret was protecting me. But reading those letters, I realized how much pain he must have carried alone. Each one was a quiet confession about missing milestones, about guilt, about wondering if Hannah hated him. One letter broke me completely. "I saw a girl at the park today who looked like you. I wanted to go up and ask if she liked the swing just to hear her voice. But what if she said no, and it wasn't you? What if she said yes, and it was?" For weeks, I couldn't look at his picture without feeling torn between anger and heartbreak. I thought about how many nights he must have sat at the kitchen table, writing to a daughter he'd never see grow up, then folding the letter away like a wound that never healed. Eventually, I decided I couldn't leave it there. I started searching. It took months. Facebook messages, old address records, even newspaper archives. But one night, a woman replied to one of my emails. Her name was Hannah Williams. She said she'd been told her dad left before she was born, that he never tried to contact her. We decided to meet at a small cafe halfway between our towns. When she walked in, my breath caught. She looked like him. The same quiet eyes, the same shy smile that didn't quite reach them. We talked for hours. I told her about the letters. She told me about the years she spent wondering why her father didn't love her enough to stay. When I showed her his handwriting, she started crying, the kind of deep, shaking cry that sounds like years of pain finally leaving. Before we left, she asked me, "Did he ever stop writing?" I told her, "No, he never stopped." Now she and I talk every week. She comes over for dinner sometimes, brings her kids, and we tell them stories about the man they never met, the man who tried, who failed, who loved both his daughters in the only way he knew how. In my room, I keep one of his letters framed on my desk. It says, "If love could fix everything, I'd have done it by now." I think about that often, because sometimes love isn't about fixing. It's about carrying what's broken and learning to forgive what you never understood. And every time I walk past that box in the attic, I whisper, "It's okay, Dad, I found her."